I was told this story when I was a kid, not as a fairy tale, not as something meant to scare me. It was told like something real. People don't tell stories like that to entertain you. They tell them so you remember, so it stays with you, so it comes back years later, when you're not expecting it. I was told there are crossroads where two roads meet. Ordinary looking places. The kind you can walk past without noticing. Old, forgotten. There are no signs there, no markers. Not even the feeling that a choice was ever meant to be made. The roads look tired, cracked asphalt, dirt that hasn't been touched in years, grass growing right through the cracks, like it decided no one would pass there again. I was told those crossroads don't appear by accident, and they don't disappear. They just wait. And if you come there at midnight, not earlier, not later, exactly when the night is perfectly still, if there's no moon, if it's dark enough that you can't see the edges of the road, and if you bring an empty sack with you, then you might hear a question. It's not asked loudly. It's not shouted. Sometimes you don't even hear it with your ears at first. The question is simple. A sack of gold, or a sack of happiness. No explanation, no details, no bargaining, nothing else. I was told that if you try to ask a question back, nothing will happen. If you stay silent, nothing will happen. If you say something extra, you might not make it out. Because it's not a conversation. It's a choice. And you only get to make it once. The person who told me this knew the rules. You could feel it right away. He wasn't improvising. He wasn't searching for words. He was listing them slowly. Sometimes he paused, not like he was remembering, like he was checking himself, like it mattered not to get anything wrong, not to say anything extra. First, the crossroads has to be old, not just existing for a long time, abandoned, the kind where no one walks anymore, where the roads don't expect people, where tracks fade on their own, where grass grows in the middle, not just along the edges. Second, the sack must be empty, not just light, completely empty. No lining, no pockets, no seams where something could be hidden. He was especially careful with this part, like he knew this was where people made mistakes. Third, the moment you answer, grab the sack and run. Don't look around. Don't listen. Don't try to understand what's happening. Don't look back. Under any circumstances. He didn't explain why. He just repeated it twice. And every time he looked at me like he was checking if I understood. And the last thing. Your home has to be prepared in advance. A room should be small, closed, somewhere you can stay for a long time. Seal every gap, under the door, in the vents, around the pipes. He listed it calmly, like a grocery list. No mirrors, and no talking until sunrise. That's where he always stopped. No conclusions, no extra words. I listened and didn't believe him. It sounded like a strange story. Old, a little ridiculous, but I remembered everything. You don't forget things like that, even if they seem stupid, even if people laugh at them, even if you think you'll never need it. Years passed. I didn't think about it often. Sometimes it surfaced, in conversations, on the road, in random thoughts, then disappeared again. Until one day I realized I knew a place like that. I hadn't been looking for it. It just showed up in my life. Old roads, overgrown edges, no signs. The asphalt was gone in places, faded markings barely visible, no tire tracks. I had passed it before, just never paid attention, like a lot of things that only matter later. I started preparing during the day. I knew I wouldn't have time at night. My house was old and quiet, no creaking floors, no pipes ticking, no dripping water. It didn't draw attention to itself. It just stood there. I chose the smallest room, the bathroom, not because it was comfortable, because there was less space, less room for anything else. I sealed everything, under the door, the vents, around the pipes, slowly, carefully. Checked it twice, then again, then sat and listened. There was no sound, not even the ones you usually ignore. I covered the mirror with thick fabric, checked the lock, sat down, stood up, sat again, like I was testing how long I could stay there, like I was checking if there would be enough air. When the time came, I left the house. The night was already there, dense, still. No moon, no stars, like the sky had decided not to exist. I closed the door quietly. No click, no extra sound. The sack was in my hand, empty, weightless, but it felt heavy anyway. I walked. At first, everything was normal. Street lights, sidewalk, houses. Then the light ended. One lamp was out, another flickered. The third wasn't there at all. The shadows got longer, darker. I noticed I was listening. Usually at night, there's always something. A car, a dog, wind. Here, nothing. Even my footsteps sounded wrong, like the ground wasn't the same. A few times I stopped. Every time I did, I felt something strange, like it wasn't me stopping, like everything else did. Once I thought I heard breathing, not close, somewhere to the side, like someone was walking with me. The closer I got, the less clear everything became. The road narrowed. Grass swallowed the edges. The asphalt disappeared. I knew I was going the right way. I just didn't know how I knew. At some point, the air changed. It became heavier. I caught myself thinking too loudly, like my thoughts were making sound, even though I wasn't speaking. The last turn was barely noticeable. I stopped. In front of me was the crossroads. No signs, no markers. Two roads, both the same, both leading nowhere. And that's what made it worse. I stepped into the center, and everything went completely quiet. Not like night, like a room where someone turned everything off at once. I felt the cold rise from the ground, not to my feet, higher, straight to my chest. That's when I realized I was afraid. Not panic, not sudden. A calm, heavy fear. The kind that doesn't make you run, makes you want it to just happen already. I tightened my grip on the sack. It was simple. Canvas. Empty. I knew that. But my hand still shook. At first, nothing happened. I even thought it was all stupid. That I was an adult. That this was just an old story. Then I heard the question. Flat. Even. Like it wasn't spoken. Like it was switched on. A sack of gold. Or a sack of happiness. I thought that if I stayed silent, nothing would happen. That the crossroads would stay just a crossroads. That the roads would become roads again. That the night would pass like any other night. I thought something else too. That if I said the wrong thing, nothing would happen either. That maybe it was a test, or a trap. The thoughts moved slowly, like they were dragging through the air. The silence around me got heavier. It didn't press on my ears. It pressed from the inside, I realized I was stalling, and that it was noticeable, so I answered. A sack of happiness. The words came out dull, not like my voice usually did. For a few seconds nothing happened. Then I felt the sack change. It didn't get heavier, didn't pull down, didn't jerk. It just stopped being empty. The fabric tightened, like something filled it, something without shape, but taking up all the space at once. I squeezed it tighter. And that's when I remembered the main rule. Don't think, don't check, don't look back. I turned and ran. The first steps were easy. Behind me, nothing. And came the footsteps. Not fast, not sharp, steady. They didn't catch up, didn't fall behind. Wait. The voice came from right next to me, and at the same time, from nowhere. I recognized it instantly. A voice I grew up with. A voice that knew exactly how to speak to me. I ran faster. You didn't understand. That's not what it is. I didn't turn. You always wanted more. The footsteps got closer, not faster, closer. The air thickened. Every breath became heavier, like the night was testing how much air I needed. Stop. The word sounded calm, almost caring. I didn't stop. I ran until I saw the house. It appeared suddenly, like the road had been hiding it on purpose. I ran inside, slammed the door, locked it, turned the lock all the way. Then again, even though I knew it was already locked. That's when I realized I was shaking. Not from running. Not from the cold. From the fact that I could still hear the footsteps, even after everything went quiet again. I locked myself in the bathroom and sat down on the floor. Not right away. At first I leaned against the wall, then slowly slid down. Held the sack close to me. It felt empty again. Light. I sat there and listened. At first, silence. Too much silence. Not the kind you get at night. The kind where you don't even hear your own breathing until you focus on it. I realized I was breathing slowly. Not on purpose. I just didn't want the sound to go past the door. Then someone knocked. Once. Soft. The kind of knock people use when they don't want to scare you. When they're sure you'll open. Open up. My mother's voice. You're cold. I brought you a jacket. I knew she was dead. Had known for years. But the voice was right. The pauses, the breathing. Even the way she stopped slightly between words. Just for a minute. I'll leave right after. I didn't move. Didn't press against the door. Didn't cover my ears. I just sat there, looking at the floor. After a while, the voice changed. You've always been stubborn. My father. I didn't recognize it right away. First the tone, then the pause before the word stubborn. You think you're smarter than everyone else. The door handle moved. Not hard. Just a test. Not trying to open it. Checking if it would hold. We just want to talk. Pause. You don't want to be alone, do you? The voices changed. One left. Another started almost immediately. Sometimes they came back to the same phrases, like they were testing if they would work this time. They didn't shout, didn't threaten, didn't demand. They waited. Sometimes they stayed silent for so long that I thought it was over. And in those moments, I heard something else. Something moved in the vents. Not scratching, not forcing its way in. Just moving. Slowly. Like it was checking how well I had sealed everything. It's getting hot in there. You can't breathe? We can help. The voices sounded almost caring, like they actually meant it. I kept looking at the floor. The tile under me was cold. Then I stopped noticing that. Time stopped making sense. I didn't know how long it had been, minutes, hours. My phone was in another room. And even if it had been with me, I wouldn't have looked. You chose happiness. Pause. And happiness means being together. The voice sounded almost perfect. Like it was exactly how it should sound. The kind of voice you want to believe. You were always afraid of the dark. You were always afraid to be alone. The door shook again. Harder this time. The lock clicked, but didn't open. Open. Then it changed. The voices started overlapping. Sometimes one right after another. Sometimes two at once. Sometimes repeating the same sentences. Same words. Same pauses. Like they were stuck. Sometimes they made mistakes. Called me by the wrong name. Mentioned things that never happened. Or forgot things no one could forget. And that was the worst part. Then I smelled something. Not sharp. At first like old wiring, then warm, dry. The smell grew slowly. Slow enough to get used to. I thought about fire. That if I opened the door, it would be worse. That if I didn't, it would also be worse. Water started moving in the pipes, somewhere in the walls, then stopped. The light flickered once, and didn't come back. The air from the vent turned warm, heavy, like there was less of it. Someone whispered, very quietly, "We won't make it." I didn't know who said it, and I didn't check. Then silence again. I sat there holding the sack, didn't open it, didn't look inside. Sometimes it felt empty. I held it tighter, like it mattered, like letting go would make it worse. By morning, my hair stuck to my face. My forehead was damp, my clothes heavy. When the sun came up, everything stopped. Not suddenly, not all at once. The voices just didn't come back. The movement stopped. The heat left the vents. There was only normal silence. I waited longer, because I was afraid to be wrong. Then I opened the door. The house was empty, quiet, normal. No smell, no smoke, no signs that the night had happened at all. The lights worked, the water ran. Everything was fine. The sack was still there, where I had left it. I picked it up, felt the weight, then looked inside. There was nothing. Absolutely nothing. I didn't feel disappointed, didn't feel relieved. I just understood that this was right. After that night, my life changed. Not dramatically, not all at once. It didn't become better. It didn't become easier. It became steady. I met a woman I didn't have to pretend with. Work stopped draining everything out of me. Problems still happened, like they do for everyone. But they didn't break anything, didn't pull everything else down with them. I was happy, not all the time, not loudly, but real. Later I found out what happened to the ones who chose gold. They didn't make it home. They were found in the morning, on the road. Sometimes not even far from where they started, their eyes open, and their faces like they had turned around. They say gold is heavy. I knew that even back then. I was told that from the beginning, not as a metaphor, not as a hint. Just told that you can't run with a sack of gold, that it doesn't become heavy right away. It becomes heavy the moment you try to leave. I was told that people who choose gold are the ones who think they'll make it, that they're fast enough, strong enough, that they can carry it. The person who told me the story knew that. He didn't say anything extra. He just said that the sack of gold doesn't let you go, and that no one makes it home with it. Back then, I didn't understand what he meant. I remembered it as just another rule, another condition. Only later did it become clear. The sack isn't a reward. It's a test, not of what you choose, but whether you can carry it, whether you can make it home with what you asked for. Make it, without stopping, without turning around. And if one day you find yourself at an old crossroads, no signs, no markers, and you hear the question, remember this: it's not about what you get, it's about whether you can take it with you, and not look back. If you've made it this far, you're ready for the next story. It's already waiting on the channel.